How to be a self-taught graphic designer without losing your shit. I hope you're liking this 2010 YouTube setup that I got going on. That's because my phone is dead and I don't really have any other resources other than that and my little webcam. So, number one, learn the basics. I've been using Adobe Photoshop since I was in high school, but I still wasn't so proficient in that. Because I wanted to do I wanted to make GIFs. I wanted to do the designs that I see on Tumblr. Remember when Tumblr was a thing? But now that I'm in this field, I learned that whatever program it is that Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, whatever, it doesn't really make you a good designer. You just know the technicals. So this is the part where you school yourself before you get into the technical, immersive, exciting stuff. Here's the things that you should know: design theory, color theory, and typography. To start with, there's so many things that you have to understand and to be educated on, but those are just the three things that you can kick things off with. It's also important to understand design jargons. For instance, what is kerning? What is negative space? What's the difference with that and white space? All that stuff. So to do that, you have to find your resources. You read blogs, make use of YouTube. If you can, get yourself some books to start with. There's a lot of, you just Google some basics on what kind of books that you have to read as a beginner graphic designer. So yeah, those are really going to help you out. Find your niche / specialty. If you don't know exactly what you want to do, I suggest reevaluate the reason why you wanted to become a designer to begin with. For me, I was inspired by music and film. I wanted to do movie posters, cover arts, tour posters, and all that. So I suggest you niche down to three. You can do logo design, packaging, branding. Then you can just hone your mastery from there. And here's a tip: you have to learn in demand design niches or jobs that you have to fall back in case the poster design doesn't work out. I didn't want to do logo design because it's not really that exciting to be honest. But I have to learn that because it's like one of the most sought after specialties of graphic design. Master the industry standard softwares. I say them in quotes because they're like cheaper alternatives to the Adobe Creative Suite. So you have to know Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. How are you going to get that? That's up to you. How long does it take? Learn these programs. Realistically, I'd say a year. If you're persistent, you're motivated, it really depends on your dedication. You have to know the pen tool. The pen tool is like the designer's magic wand. The pen tool is a bitch, to be honest. But, you just have to deal with her because she's so important. If you don't know stuff, you could just use YouTube to your advantage. There's like a ton of tutorials out there for you. Here's another tip. Don't get used to one program. Like as I mentioned, I was more on Photoshop. So now I like to do more stuff in Illustrator because one, it's vector. So when you scale it, it doesn't get shitty. My least used program is InDesign because I hate InDesign personally. You have to get inspired. 70% of my work is inspired by the work of other people. Originality is a dead concept anyway, so don't worry about having your work resemble someone else's. So what are ways for you to get inspired? Listen to music, buy books on design, listen to podcasts, watch movies, watch talks or conferences from designers. There's a lot of them on YouTube. The ones that are like an hour long. They're not really that boring. I'm not really a conference kind of person either. But if it's something that I'm interested in, take a couple of hours to sit down and pay attention. Or, you could just scroll endlessly through Pinterest. Or you can collect your own. I recently purchased this big ass journal. And what do I do with this? You say, I collect packaging. Oh, I collect packaging from the products that I use. These are all that I have so far. I'm trying to specialize in packaging design, understanding the contents of the packaging, like the die lines, and I think it's going to be really helpful, I think. Fifth thing that you should know in order to be a self-taught graphic designer without losing your shit is that you have to know your audience. Just like with every brand, business, or entity, there is a target market. You have to ask yourself, who am I trying to attract with my work? In my case, get the attention of design studios, other creatives like musicians, writers, artists, and all that, and also small business. There's something for you, but you just have to figure it out. Finding your personal brand. This is a tricky one. When I started my graphic design journey, I had no clear personal brand. I was always just trying to pretentious. It wasn't really me. They look cool, but it just doesn't resonate who I am. You know what I mean? So I started out with a name called Dirty Pink. Oh, it was very clear that I wasn't going to use my real name, and I had this like pink monochromatic script logo. It didn't work out, so I changed it again to Amos V Graphic. Such a stupid name. I used it for like a good few months, and I had this black and gradient branding. That's it. And now I'd say it's more me. How did I do that? How can you develop your own personal branding? I wrote down keywords to describe myself, like not like personal branding, but about myself. So I think you should do that as well. There's no limit to the words that you can put. If you don't know who you are, ask your friends or your family. They're probably going to know you more than you know yourself. Build your portfolio. Let's be honest, no matter how good you are at Adobe Photoshop or Illustrator, studios and clients will hire you based on your portfolio. And oftentimes they're looking for something solid or it fits with their own brand. What if you don't have a client? You've never had a client. Be your own, okay? What I did when I didn't have any clients back then was I created these fake personal self-initiated projects using brands or stuff that don't really exist. Like I created a fake skincare brand. I created a beverage branding, vinyl posters, like redesigned vinyl posters of my favorite artists. But at the same time, you have to do them in a way that's portfolio worthy. Like this is something that you'd want your potential client to see. Or one thing is for sure, your first works are not something that you're going to be proud of. You're going to make some bumps here and there. You're going to cringe at your own work. You're going to be frustrated along the way, but that's normal. Just keep pushing. Not every work is portfolio worthy, so you don't need to be putting everything that you do on your portfolio. Instagram, maybe. Here's a tip. Make a good first impression and read case studies. You have to know how to clean up your portfolio. I used to have a portfolio that's like really all over the place. I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. But yeah, like if you look at my portfolio, I definitely say it's better now. I organized it in a way that you can see the mock-ups right away, and it's definitely cleaner. With case studies will help you understand the rationale behind projects. So I'd say go read up some projects on Behance, design agencies' websites like Pentagram. Case studies are also where you'll know what the problem is and how you can solve a problem. You know what I mean? You have to be your own client. Let's say you don't have a client. Try to step into their shoes. And by that, I mean you have to be the annoying one. Be insistent. For instance, say you're doing a branding for a men's skincare line, and then the founder wanted to have an unconventional take, like, oh, I want to use pink. Ooh, pink. Okay, that actually sounds fun. I should probably do that. Anyway, so how are you going to utilize pink to a group of people who believe that pink is not masculine? It's 2020 though. And you also have to set a strict schedule for yourself. I have to admit, I still struggle with this. And I know that planning anything this year has been a challenge if you've just been staying at home. I think planning ahead will get you motivated to do stuff. With that, I always set out my plans on a Sunday. So I have a journal or planner, whatever you call it, and I just write down whatever it is that I need to do. Say, on a Monday, sketch this logo. On a Tuesday, finalize this logo. And then maybe on a Friday, I'll do the packaging. You know what I mean? By being your own client, you get to restrict yourself from making personal choices. You can't really be putting some random illustration right there just because you think it looks pretty. I mean, if your client thinks it's pretty, then feedback. Feedback is so important, especially if you're like self-taught, you don't have a degree, you will be wrong. So how are you going to do that? It's kind of a trick, really. I get feedback from more experienced designers and non-designers. Designers will spot the error, while non-designers will usually just judge on overall look. So you're not really going to look at a packaging, for example, and think, oh, the kerning is wrong. They should have used this color instead of that. They just like what they see or they don't. And you will definitely get a lot of mixed feedback. It's going to be confusing for you. You can join Facebook groups. Some of them can be harsh, some of them are nice, some of them are critical. Just don't be sensitive. Next is, do not be pressured by design trends. I think following trends doesn't really make you a great designer. You just blend well with the cool kids. When you're trying to be a graphic designer, you look up the work of others. You're going to see a shit ton of work that look the same, and they look great. They look real great. Don't try to do something just because it's going to get you a lot of engagement on social media. We can all be guilty of this, to be honest. I understand that trends do make money, but if you find yourself constantly scrolling through Instagram or Facebook, refreshing it, hoping that somebody would like, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. Like when I did that skincare brand, oh my god, that was a hit. That skincare branding I did, platinum. Be somewhere like, you might think it looks good and you're proud of it, but others are like, no, not today. Next is to take your time. I am guilty of not doing this when I first started because I'm always like, oh, I'm so excited to show everyone what I did. When you put out something that's rushed or unfinished, it's going to show, especially when you're like, when you're trying to show it to other designers who are like way more experienced than you. They're going to tell that, oh, this doesn't look that accomplished. To be, there are projects that take months to finish. It takes months to approve. It goes through an arduous process. And when you're just, doing just something for the internet, you have to put out something that's like your best work. What I do is that it takes me like a week or two, just planning, researching, planning, getting inspiration, reading about them. Yeah, I think one of the last few things I'm going to say is that you have to be vigilant, because there are going to be people who will take advantage of your skills by paying you too little or nothing at all, or exploiting your services, asking for a lot of revisions beyond your agreement is what I'm saying. Understand the paperwork, contracts, invoices, receipts if you're a registered freelancer. 50% down payment or deposit, that is important. If your client can't pay you the 50%, then no, next time. So yeah, just tell them no pay, no work. What else? I think that's it. I may have, missed some other things, but if you know anything else, please feel free to comment down below. I hope you like this video. I hope it helps you. But yeah, good luck and happy designing. Bye bye.